What is up, Star Seeds? I have been wanting to film this video for quite a while now, okay? It's always been in my list of ideas, and recently, these past few weeks, I have been thinking about it more and more. I have just been going off in my head, just rambling, rehearsing in my mind. And I actually saw in my Snapchat memories that 2 years ago today, exactly, is when I gave a speech at my graduation ceremony. So I figured, hey, today would be cool to talk about it, right? So it's late at night, that's why the bags under my eyes are extra dark. Uh, Anyways, let's hop into this. I don't know how long this is about to be, but however long it is, it's going to be worth it, okay? I love this topic. I love talking about alternative education because I feel like it is so important and it's really not talked about at all. I saw a documentary on alternative high schools before I went to one, and I thought the idea was really cool, but I still didn't think it was for me, which is so not true, okay? And I'm going to talk more about this at the end of the video. And if you are bored with this kind of backstory as to why I switched to the alternative high school, then just fast forward. There's not going to be timestamps because this is all going to just kind of connect into a big story. But you can just fast forward until you're not bored, if that's what you want to do. But a backstory is necessary, okay? So if you guys watch my channel and have watched other more personal videos, then you know that in 8th grade, that is when I started really developing my mediumship abilities. So there had been instances, earlier on in my life having these imaginary friends who were actually probably dead people. But anyways, fast forward to 8th grade, that's when I would get these people's death scenes in my head, and then slowly but surely more info about them, and I would, have a journal and write this down. And I had a very serious boyfriend at the time. He was totally okay with that. He thought it was cool. He was very supportive. And so we went into high school having already been dating for quite a long time for being so young. And so we went to, the big high school together. I had gone to this school district all my life. I'm not going to say which one because it doesn't really matter, and there's so many other cities in different states and even countries that are called this. So if you research it, you can find it somewhere if you care that much. But it really doesn't matter, okay? So I've been going to this school district forever. Me and my boyfriend at the time, we went to the same big major high school with a couple thousand kids attending it. All right, and it was okay at first, super big, hard to find your way around at first, but so is every school when you first go there, right? Well, most schools, okay? Because the alternative, once I switched, was super easy. It was literally 2 hallways. That's it. It was great. Anyways, spoiler alert, it was great when I went there. But so, me and my boyfriend at the time broke up near the end of sophomore year. And the reason why I think this is important for the story is because after we broke up, I really started focusing on myself more. It was a blessing in disguise. It was much needed because I just had more time on my hands to research new things. I had realized that all of my friends weren't really like my best friends, okay? I don't want to say I didn't have friends because I did. They just all had other best friends. I was no one's best friend, which I feel like a lot of people can relate to and is still definitely the case in my life today. I have great friends. I had great friends then. I just didn't have anyone I was really close to. Now I do, but back then I really didn't. Because my boyfriend, who I've been dating for so long, was my best friend. So once that ended and we weren't speaking a lot, I felt like I had basically no one. And I either had to rekindle old relationships, friendships, or start new ones, or figure something out. But, I started doing that, but really instead of doing that, I took time off school. And I don't think it was a conscious thing because physically I felt terrible. Like, I felt so sick, and I bet people thought it was because of my mental health, my breakup. And maybe it was, but at the time I did not think it was whatsoever. It was this sub and unconscious feeling that was manifesting in my physical body. and I was just feeling very sick. And now, looking back, I know it was ascension symptoms. Sorry if my hand's shaking. I'm kind of resting my hand on my knee, holding up the camera right now. And talking about this makes my hand kind of shaky because it's really emotional. Anyways, I really started researching more spiritual things. This is when my spiritual awakening kicked off more, okay? So I missed a lot of school because of that, and I really didn't realize what was going on at the time. Anyways, that happened like spring of sophomore year when the school year was sort of ending, okay? Because I missed a lot of school. And then junior year, the end of the year, basically the same thing happened. I don't really think I was going through a breakup. I didn't have a serious boyfriend until after junior year. Again, I didn't have my second serious boyfriend until after junior year. Anyways, so the end of junior year, the springtime. Springtime is just a time for awakening. It's a time for starting fresh, researching new things. So at this time, I actually had like a lot of great friends. I was 16. I was super social then. I was like 16, 17. I was super social. Those were like my most wild years by far. But the end of junior year was definitely my biggest spiritual awakening. And I think that time is like the major highlight of my spiritual evolution in my whole life. I know I'm going to go through more spiritual awakenings, but I think that end of junior year was, the all-time peak for me, Sydney, in this life. Anyways, I was researching things that I talk about on my channel that I'm super interested in. I was getting very into, much more into than before. Super into astrology, super into aliens, and I found out about the hybrid program, which I already felt connected to. I just didn't really know that other people thought it existed until then, so I was just finding all of these connections, researching about ancient civilizations and the pineal gland and chakras and energy and just all of these amazing things which I felt so connected to. And ascension symptoms were happening. So physically I was feeling sick and I missed a lot of school. And then the end of junior year, I remember my counselor who did everyone's scheduling told me that I should definitely go to the alternative high school, which is called the Bridge, for my senior year. And at the time I felt pretty freaking, what's the word? Like insulted, offended. I felt offended by it. And I was like, no, that's not for me. I'm not one of those kids, because there is a stigma around alternative high schools. And it sucks, dude. Like, everyone thinks the kids who go to alternative high schools are druggies, they're in and out of juvie or in and out of jail or something. They think they're the poor kids. They think they're the stupid kids. They think they're just the burnouts. They think they're the teen moms. And now I am a teen mom. It's just a coincidence or a synchronicity, as I like to call it. Okay, because I was not back then. I had been out of school for over a year before I got pregnant. Anyways. So at the time, I was like, no, I'm going to this high school next year. I'm graduating from here. I'm getting my diploma. Because another big thing was I thought that if I went to the alternative high school, I wouldn't get my real high school diploma. I thought I would get like a GED or something. That is not the case at the high school I graduated from. I have the same exact diploma that I would have gotten from that school. It just says the Bridge instead of that school's name. The only difference. Okay? And I am much more proud to have graduated from the Bridge than from that big school. And I'll tell you why. So, the summer after junior year, the summer before senior year, I met and I dated for just a little bit my second big love. And I think that's because I went through that spiritual awakening and I was going through that spiritual awakening. And when you go through a spiritual awakening, you meet soulmates. That's a little side note. Anyways, the start of senior year, I started going to that big high school. And I went for about 2 weeks. I might have only missed like a day or two, which I say like it's no big deal because I was so used to missing school like at least one day a week. And when I said that I missed a lot of school, I mean I only went maybe one day a week or like 1 or 2 days a month during the end of sophomore year and the end of junior year. Like, it was bad. My attendance was bad in high school, and it had just become my norm for some reason. But anyways, after that, I was like, I'm taking cool classes. Like, I have friends. My childhood best friend was in like 2 of my classes, which when you have a big school with lots of people going to, the chances of you being in class with one person, like your childhood best friend, like, slim to none. You know, I had cute guys in my classes. Like, I was like, I like these classes. It's cool, but like for some reason this school is just not cool. It's not doing it for me. I don't feel comfortable here. I just felt like an outcast, and really it was more in my sub and unconscious mind, which I didn't realize was so powerful. But it really was. Because after that, I was like, I can't do this a whole nother year. I remember the end of my junior year when I was like, I have no clue how I'm going to be able to do this a whole nother year. And so after the 2 first weeks of senior year, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should switch. And a girl that I had met that past summer before senior year, she went to the bridge. So she was really the one who encouraged me to go. Thank you, Anna. I love you. She was like, yeah, come on, I'll show you around. Everyone's super nice there. Like, it's all one big friend group. And I thought she was exaggerating, but the fact that I would know one person well and some other people sort of made me feel comfortable enough to go. And when I went there, I realized she was not kidding at all. Like, it is one big friend group. I'm not exaggerating, okay? There is just a couple kids who really don't want to talk to anyone, and you know, people have tried to approach them. They just really don't want to socialize, and we respect that. But 95% of the kids who go to the school are seriously one big friend group. Everyone is so welcoming. The teachers are so welcoming. The principal, everyone is so amazing there. And I was kind of nervous about going in, like, you know, 2 weeks after school had already started, or probably 3 weeks by then. I pretty much took a week off to transition. Oh my gosh, I'm slurring my words so bad in this video. Anyways, like, it was not bad at all. It was just so amazing, and it was a lot easier, okay? So I didn't want to go to the school because I was like, I don't need easier schoolwork. I don't need this and that. I really just needed a better environment, though, and that's what it was. Like, the bridge was a much better environment for me. And that's what made me realize there must have been something going on sub and unconsciously that made me really not like the big high school. And the alternative high school can be for anyone, okay? Because it was the perfect alternative for me. Like, I don't know how to describe the feeling to you guys, but I knew that I didn't want to go to college at this point. So I always say that the bridge felt like my college. It was so fun, okay? And yeah, the schoolwork was easy because we did the state requirements, okay? There was no backpacks there, no homework. You didn't need a backpack since you didn't have homework. If you were reading a book in English class, the book stayed in the classroom, and if you did need to take the book home, you could just take the book home if your teacher said you could. But man, I want to kind of tell you guys what it was like. And obviously every school is different, but my alternative high school, you know, like, they had a little breakfast time for us because some kids that go there, man, they're in a rush and their home life isn't great, okay? And you can go to an alternative high school even if you do have a great home life and you just need a great school life too. But, you know, I feel like that's why there's a stigma and a stereotype, because a lot of the kids that do go there have a tough situation, and that's why they need an alternative, and that's totally okay. But I just want to normalize going to these alternative high schools because they can really be for anyone, okay? Like, I highly recommend them to teen moms. I highly recommend them to kids who don't have a lot of money and feel uncomfortable at the big high school going in the line at lunch that's, you know, for the poor kids to have the free school meal. But at the bridge, almost everyone was on that, and we didn't care, you know? We talked about it. Like, it was just comfortable. because we were in a comfortable environment, and if you didn't want to, we respected your privacy. It was just such a welcoming, nurturing environment. And if you had an issue, if you were acting out, they didn't send you to detention. They didn't have detention. It was, you have to go to Circle. And Circle is like this group where you talk about your feelings, and you talk about your issues, and they make you talk. And, you know, it's a counselor who's really nice. And there's one teacher for everything. So there's one counselor, there's one English teacher, there's one art teacher, there's one science teacher, there's one math teacher, and there's one history teacher, and there's one online teacher. So I didn't have to take history or math because I only went there for a couple of months, you guys. Is that a word? and combined it, y'all. But so I had already had my math credits and my history credits, but I took a math class online because I, needed to take a few classes. And I only went there for a few months because one of the other deciding factors as to why I went to the alternative high school, sorry, I'm going in circles, is the fact that at this one, so we had trimesters. There was 3 trimesters in a school year. And because I had already had all my other credits, I passed all my classes that I took the first 3 years of high school. So at the bridge, like 2/3, if you passed, they just counted that as 1 year. So if I went there, my whole high school experience, I could have graduated probably like a year and a trimester early or something like that. But so I got out a trimester early, so I was done with school in February, like 2.5 years ago almost. So I thought that was really cool, and that was going to give me, 3 extra months that I wouldn't have had if I didn't have that opportunity of freedom. And 3 months when I was 16 and 17 was a lot. I was 16 when I started going there, was 17 when I was done with school. I had just turned 17. And I'm young. I was always the youngest one in my grade because my birthday's in November. But I just thought that was so cool, especially, knowing that I wanted to start a YouTube channel. And so because I took that online math class, I finished it in 2 weeks, you guys, because it was so easy. And then I took like an earth and space science class, which was pretty hard, but it was pretty easy for me just because I'm really book smart. I'm really book smart, street smart, spiritual smart. I'm just a smart person overall, and I'm not trying to hype myself up. That's just one of my biggest qualities as a person. So I had time to work on other stuff, like prepare videos for YouTube and start my list of videos that I wanted to do. Like, I was so passionate about this, and I still am. That's why I do a video every week. And some I do quicker than others. Some I don't put as much effort into, and that's kind of the beauty of it, if that makes sense. But I was just so ready to travel the world back then, which I still really want to do. But I was just such a passionate person, and the bridge just allowed me to express that passion. And I really appreciated that. People knew that I believed in aliens. People thought it was cool. People asked me about it. People knew that I was into astrology. I got cafe astrology banned from being used in the school for some reason because I was looking up everyone's Western astrology birth chart. Oh my God. It was just some good times because we got our schoolwork done, and then sometimes if we had open gym, because we didn't have gym class, it wasn't a requirement, which I thought was awesome because who likes gym class besides the athletes, right? I'm all for working out, but I just really hated doing it in a school environment. In high school, it was terrible having to swim in front of everyone and being the slowest. I thought I was a good swimmer, thought I was a fast runner, but I was just in the back with the kids that were, built bigger than me. And I'm just this little thing in the back. And people are just why aren't you running faster? It's because I literally can't. Why aren't you lifting more weight? Because I literally can't. Haven't you been working out for 2 years? Haven't you been lifting weights for 2 years? Yes, but I can only lift 45 pounds. Above my head, If it's legs, it's a different story. I can do a couple hundred, but my arms, man, they're not that strong. So anyways, we didn't have gym class, and I thought that was awesome. But we had open gym because we, love to work out. So at the end of the day, usually and at lunchtime, always at lunchtime. We had some basketballs and some frisbees and just things like that. We weren't allowed to go outside into the big soccer field for some reason. They just didn't trust us with that because we were the bad kids, right? No. Okay, I'm crushing the stigma of that. Like, we're not the bad kids. We're the kids who need more love, who need a more loving environment. That's why we went there. Um, so, you know, probably a question I get asked a lot is, were kids, smoking in the bathroom more? No, kids were not smoking cigarettes and weed in the bathroom all the time. Yes, it happened a few times, but it happened a few times at the big high school too. Were kids vaping in the bathroom more? I don't know how to answer that because people were doing that at the big high school too. You know, and at this alternative high school, there was, I think, three bathrooms that we could go in, and sometimes they would shut one or two of them, so the girls could only use one and the guys could only use one if they caught people doing things more frequently. But there was a rule that if a teacher walked into a bathroom, she saw you with a vape, she confiscated it, and then they actually like smashed them with a hammer every week. Uh, And at the high school, I don't know, I think you got like suspended for 3 days or something. It was just not as harsh punishments and more love. It was like you got caught vaping, you have to go to circle and talk about it, you know? And I really like that because I don't think you should get suspended for 3 days because you're doing something that you have made your body addicted to, you know? And the question if or more kids on, sorry, my hand is shaking so bad. Were more kids on drugs at that school. There was a couple kids on drugs at the big high school that I knew of, and there was just a couple kids at the bridge on drugs that I knew of. Okay, I feel like it's the same problems at both schools. Were there teen moms at the bridge? Yes, and they usually did online because you could either go in person, do online, or do a combination of both. Were there teen moms at the big high school that I went to? Yes. So it's the same problems in both schools, okay? It's just the people at the bridge made that choice to switch to the bridge to make the schooling aspect of their life easier to, just do better in the other areas of their life. And I think that's great. And another reason why it was so good for me is because I was working every single day except Monday because Sky Zone is closed on Mondays. So that was really good for me. And like at lunch, there was only a few tables, right? Because there's only a limited amount of kids. There's not a lot of kids, there's only one teacher for each subject. There's not a lot of kids that go there. So because of the smallness of the school, that's one reason everyone was so close. And at lunch, like, there was one or two tables for the kids who didn't, really want to socialize more. And then a lot of the kids who didn't want to socialize just kind of sat anywhere in the hall because we could do that. And then there was literally just two tables of the majority of the kids, okay? And there was hardly any, like, classification of popular and not popular. Like, there was hardly any of that, okay? It's going to happen in any environment. And there was some popular kids that had went to the big high school before, and, like, they were just well known because of that, the pretty girls. So there was just a little bit of that, but, like, everyone was friends. They were nice to everyone. It wasn't the same, and they felt more comfortable there, okay? So the people who came from the high school, all of them have said that they feel more comfortable at the bridge. Maybe we can do, like, a bridge reunion with, some of the kids that went to the bridge. Maybe this can be, like, an alternative education little mini series I do on my channel. That would be sick. Do you guys want that? Because this video is getting long. I felt like it was going to be kind of long because I wanted to say, a little bit about why I switched, why it was awesome for me, and just kind of what the norm was there, No homework, just state required things. We got them done. And, we could really talk to our teachers about things. So it was really nice. There was this one class I took, senior seminar, because I was a senior when I went. And we just talked about real life stuff. Like, when we talked about sex, it wasn't just like the physical, scientific stuff behind it. It was about the emotional things behind it and the emotional things behind relationships and how to actually get a job and just things like that. And it was okay that a lot of us didn't want to go to college, and it was okay that some of us did. So I think that was awesome that they, as teachers, were embracing the fact that college wasn't for all of us, but yet that we still needed realistic things that we wanted to do throughout our life. If you want to grow and sell marijuana for your job legally, they were okay with that. They let you work on a plan to create that in this senior seminar class. Like, they were okay with it. They thought it was great. They embraced it. We did not call the teachers by their first names. We called them by their last names. Um, and after I was done with school, I was still allowed to go back in and say hi to my friends and hand out invitations to my graduation party. So I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope you learned about alternative education and you don't feel so keen to judge other people if they go to an alternative high school. I hope you can be a supporter of alternative education and just really help crush the stigma of it and try to normalize it. I think alternative high schools are a much better learning environment than regular ones. You learn more life skills and you really learn how to support other people. You seriously learn better social skills there. It's less fake, it's more real. And these are just some pictures from my senior photo shoot and prom and graduation, which I actually spoke at my graduation 2 years ago today, about a half hour after filming my Native American astrology video. So thank you guys again so much for watching. The alternative high school was the perfect alternative for me. Love and Light and the Hybrid Children are coming soon.